What if I told you the US Constitution almost didn't exist? It was written in secret. It left out major rights, and some of the founding fathers didn't even want to sign it. The document that defines the United States today was controversial from the very beginning. Let's break down the most interesting Constitution facts they probably didn't teach you in school. In 1787, delegates gathered in Philadelphia for what was supposed to be a meeting to revise the Articles of Confederation, America's first governing document. Instead, they decided to scrap it completely. They shut the windows, posted guards outside, swore secrecy, no press, no public updates, no live stream. James Madison took detailed notes, but they weren't published until decades later. The Constitution was drafted behind closed doors, not because they were plotting something sinister, but because they knew open debate could derail the entire process. Still, imagine today if the government rewrote the entire system in secret. Different reaction, right? Out of 55 delegates who attended the Constitutional Convention, only 39 actually signed the final document. Some refused. Why? Because they believed it gave the federal government too much power. These critics became known as anti-federalists. They feared centralized authority, especially after just fighting a war to escape a powerful king. Their resistance led to one of the most important additions in American history, the Bill of Rights. That's right. The Constitution originally did not guarantee freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of the press, the right to bear arms. Those rights were added later in 1791 as the first 10 amendments. Without public pressure from anti-federalists, those protections may not have been included. So in a way, the Constitution is the product of compromise and criticism. It evolved before it was even finished. Here's a surprising one. The word democracy does not appear in the Constitution. The United States was established as a constitutional republic. Why? Because many founders feared direct democracy. They believed pure majority rule could become mob rule. So they created systems like the Electoral College, the Senate, originally chosen by state legislatures, the Supreme Court, all designed to slow down rapid shifts in power. The Constitution wasn't built for speed, it was built for stability. After it was written, the Constitution still needed approval from at least 9 of the 13 states. Ratification debates were intense. New York and Virginia nearly rejected it. If either had voted no, the United States might look completely different today. To persuade the public, Alexander Hamilton, James Madison, and John Jay wrote a series of essays defending the Constitution. These became known as the Federalist Papers. They remain some of the most influential political writings in American history. One of the darkest parts of the Constitution was the Three-Fifths Compromise. It counted enslaved individuals as 3/5 of a person for representation and taxation purposes. This wasn't about granting rights, it was about political power. Southern states wanted to count enslaved people fully to increase their representation in Congress. Northern states opposed it. The compromise revealed something uncomfortable. The Constitution was a document of ideals, written within the realities of its time. It wasn't perfect, it was political, and it set the stage for future conflict, including the Civil War. Jonathan Dayton of New Jersey was just 26 years old when he signed the Constitution. The oldest signer was Benjamin Franklin, 81 years old. The convention included veterans of the Revolutionary War, lawyers, merchants, and plantation owners. They didn't all agree, but they shared one belief: the Articles of Confederation weren't working. The new country needed a stronger framework, or it might collapse. The US Constitution is only about 4,400 words long. That's shorter than many modern legal contracts. Yet it has guided the country for over 230 years. Its brevity was intentional. The founders wanted it to be flexible. That's why amendments exist, and why interpretation continues to evolve. Since 1789, there have been over 11,000 attempts to amend the Constitution. Only 27 have succeeded. That's incredibly rare. Amendments require 2/3 of both houses of Congress and ratification by 3/4 of the states. It's designed to be difficult. Change is possible, but not easy. The document doesn't spell everything out. It leaves room for interpretation. The Supreme Court has shaped its meaning for centuries. Cases about free speech, gun rights, privacy, civil rights, executive power. The Constitution is not static. It lives through interpretation. And that's why debates about it remain intense today. The Constitution wasn't perfect. It wasn't universally supported. It wasn't even finished when it was signed. But it created a system built on checks, balances, and adaptation. It survived wars, political crises, economic collapses, and social transformation. Few documents in history have lasted this long, under this much pressure. The real story of the Constitution isn't just about parchment and ink. It's about compromise, conflict, evolution, and the ongoing debate about power. Let me know in the comments, what surprised you the most? Secrecy? The missing Bill of Rights? Or the fact that democracy isn't even in the document? And if you want a deep dive into the most controversial amendments in history, I'll make that next.